Ever think about listening to somebody new, talking about singing and playing for you? Won't you cuddle up with me under these cold covers? Music for your brain.
We all worked in a garden together. I mean,
garden?
That's really cute.
I was in a cult.
I'm just trying to make it sound culty now.
This
It's
is
just
why
a
you can't
normal
sit here.
liberal
We have
arts
way too
school.
many inside jokes.
Wait, where was it? What?
Barry
what?
College.
Oh, yeah, Barry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew some people that went to Barry.
Yeah, they're weird
Yeah.
kids, right?
We played them in lacrosse, too. They were really bad.
Oh, we suck. Any sport.
The arts kids.
We're so bad.
Their lacrosse team, it's because all the lacrosse players do is drink all day, every day.
That's
man.
all any lacrosse player does. That or smoke weed. You're fucked up.
Or both
I mean,
at the same time.
at KSU, I went to KSU too.
That is fun.
We had the guy who won like Defender of the Year in the SEC, I guess SELC is what they call it.
Okay.
But he was high every game, and he won Defender of the Year. Like the kid was a monster. He was just high all the time.
Dude,
There you go.
That's cool.
It helps.
Some people
I think.
just perform better like that. You know?
Yeah, it's PEDs, the legal kind or illegal kind, I guess.
If that's what it takes, I guess.
Hopefully not for long.
Yeah, for real.
That's true.
Oh my God, it's legalized everywhere now.
For real.
Just about.
Oregon, they decriminalized what? Everything?
Everything. Let's go do heroin.
So
guys.
nuts.
Yeah, it's no big
Wait, is heroin legal in Oregon?
Literally,
Heroin. Well, I mean,
It's not, like,
it's been
legal.
passed. Well, it's been decriminalized. You can't
Yeah.
get like a charge for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Which is
You
I did
possess
not
it.
know
It's
that.
still illegal to sell it.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't like go buy it at a shop or
Right.
something. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'm still
Not
like,
yet.
if somebody catches you like dealing it, like I think you can still get charged. And
it's such a weird. Why would?
but
Why
like
even
if you just
decriminalize
have
it?
possession,
Yeah.
then they just will take it or something.
So I guess it's like a
So
prison
weird.
reform thing to like
Basically.
keep people out of like.
I hope they're also sending people
I
to
don't know,
rehab.
man. I don't know.
I mean, I
they
agree
have
with
the
that
money
for sure.
that. Dang.
What about all the people that are in prison for it?
That's what we need to fix. I mean, that stuff's kind
Yeah,
of
were they
insane.
not?
People are still in prison for like weed in places that it's legal. It's like
Yeah.
insane to me.
Holy cow. That is crazy.
getting into some deep stuff.
Heavy
already.
stuff, man. Heavy stuff.
Bummer, we're not.
We
the
live during heavy
1975,
times,
we can just
guys.
Roll the
If we
camera
bring up
and
the
keep talking.
1975 more than twice in this interview, then something went very wrong.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
deck
it's
somebody
like I
on
feel
screen.
like literally politics is like impossible to avoid,
I know.
especially
Oh,
after this
for
past week.
Yeah, but the world's still alive.
we have an
which is-
answer prepared
We're
if you
still
ask
here.
us who we voted for. So
Whoever everyone else voted for, right?
Joe Jorgensen.
No Jorgensen.
I'm
JJ?
sure all voted for very differently, actually.
Yeah, I kind of thought the world was gonna like burn down this week, but it
Dude, it
hasn't.
didn't.
It's been pretty
We're
civil.
still here right
Mike
now. As
Kroger,
long
right
as-
up here, is literally like boarded up, and they're like, "We're closed for construction." They were
Oh,
like,
sure,
"We don't want to get
Yeah.
burned down like the Target, which is right next to it."
Yeah.
I got burned.
yeah.
Dude,
But I mean, yeah, it's been pretty
Crazy.
civil, honestly.
it has.
I'm proud
It has.
of our country.
Look at us
Yeah.
being civilized human beings,
Yeah, basically.
doing the bare minimum.
How about it? Yeah.
Look at
Not
us.
killing each other. I'm so proud.
Good job, America.
We did it.
Proud of you,
Oh my god.
dude.
Doing
What
great.
interesting times.
Yeah. All right. So we're here with kinda maybe,
Yeah.
Correct.
sorta, almost.
Sort of
Sorta
almost, kind of
almost.
maybe.
Yeah. So I first heard about you guys. I guess I was telling you before through Aaron Pace
Yeah.
on Facebook and Instagram. He shouted you guys single out, and I checked it out, and it was very impressive.
Dude,
Dang.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, like the songwriting and the production and everything. It was just like, what you would hear on the radio. Like very just
Yeah.
super thought out, super produced, super professional. And I was like, how long have these guys been around? It's like, not a long time.
Yeah.
I was like,
You
holy
know,
shit.
man.
Actually,
I was like, damn, maybe I can get them on here.
They're a COVID baby.
Yeah. So you guys did start during quarantine, right? Or COVID?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're brand new.
Brand spanking new.
Just babies, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Little toddlers.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess you guys started off doing a bunch of covers for a while, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So like take me through, I guess, why you started doing that or like how that came about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when we started to do covers, at that point in time, we had already written Be Yours, and we're probably in the process of writing Please, both
Okay.
of which are out currently. And the biggest thing was like we didn't want to start with absolutely no foundation at
Yeah.
all. And so we wanted to build a fan base, like at least have people know our names, know the individuals in the band, and like have seen footage of us playing and know that like we can actually play somewhat live. Because the covers, some of them were one take, and we just shot, you know, covers that we felt like of songs that we felt like were kind of covering the genre we wanted to engage with, and so that's what we put out, and picked up a bit of momentum, and like actually started our social media and had a following, you know, before we ever actually put out our original stuff. So that was the biggest goal with that.
Yeah, for sure. You do have to have like an idea of your direction and like self-promoting and all that, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was also interesting too because we had probably put out like 4 or 5 covers before we even announced that we were going to release a single. And so at first everyone was like, "Are you guys just like a cover band?" And we were like, "No, we promise we have original stuff coming." But
that's
Guys
the,
are just getting warmed up. That's all.
yeah.
That's the trick with that. I mean, like with bands starting out, they try to get gigs, and a lot of gigs are just like, we only do cover bands, you know,
Yeah,
like at
that's
bars
true.
and stuff, and those are the only places you can get. And you're like, well, we're trying to play originals, and then you're just playing covers, and then you get kind of locked into that, and it's like
Yeah.
it's a tricky thing.
I guess by doing covers, do you feel like it helped you guys kind of like learn each other, like how everybody plays and
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so.
Yeah, for the most part, we already knew everybody because we all basically go to the same church and hang out with the same friend groups.
I didn't know everybody, but
That's true.
yeah.
Everyone except David.
Yeah, I was the little bit of an outsider. I knew
sure.
Noah coming into this, but that's it.
It was a great way to spend time together and really figure out how everybody played, what was the vibe of the entire experience, and kind of like solidify the direction for everything. So,
Yeah, so y'all are missing one right now.
we are currently.
Yes, we are missing our prized possession, Emily. Emily's our electric guitar player, and she's incredible.
Yeah.
And also the only female in the band, so she definitely holds us together a lot.
For sure.
So-
Yeah. So you guys met in Atlanta, I guess, here?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're from all over the place?
Very
For the
small.
most part.
Yeah, Arkansas. I think Emily's a local Atlantan. David's an Atlantan. I'm from DC originally. So we kind of met in pieces a little bit. David and I went to school together in North Georgia and met at school there, played in a couple bands in and around Barry College where we went to school. Came down here, you know, got plugged into music world around Atlanta and kind of started to build a band idea from there. And Colin and I had been dreaming for a while about starting a band, but didn't really have a front man. And at the same time, David and I were always texting about how shitty opening acts were and how much we really just wanted to be a better sound, you know?
Yeah.
And that idea just kind of collided and produced the band we have now.
So how did you get like plugged into the music scene here? Like what was that like?
I was playing a good bit around North Georgia, and a lot of those guys play around Atlanta as well, and that was kind of my initial plug-in. And then playing church music, you know, a lot of those musicians will play in the bar scene as well, and, and bands in and around Atlanta. So that was kind of my first step in.
Yeah. Basically the same.
So you guys went to University of North Georgia?
Barry College.
Okay.
Private school. Same idea though.
Yeah.
Same weird students.
For sure.
Yeah. Barry gets pretty eccentric in there.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
That's a word,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like take what you can get, you know, with those kind of bands, like playing churches here, playing cover gigs here, playing, you know, whatever you can get, whatever spots you can get to make some money.
Yeah.
But you guys, I guess, haven't been playing live because you started during this pandy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Started during the pandy.
Yeah, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
The pandy,
The good old
Rona.
Rona.
Yeah, gotta love it. Our first like running title for the project was actually Quarant20s for a long time.
Oh no.
So
I didn't agree to that.
I'm glad you changed it.
Colin's
the best
idea.
name put together, but definitely still the name of my Master Ableton project file.
There was not
For all of our
consensus
demos, all
around
of-
that name.
We didn't vote on that one.
Yeah. Not my finest moment. I can't attest to that, but still, that's where it all kind of started coming together in something. Anyways.
Yeah, but you guys are like definitely the most, I guess, popped group we have had. And like for sure, like I could definitely see you guys being on the radio, like in the same vein as, you know, 1975 and like Coin and those kind of bands, like Laney, another one, but like bands that are just, I guess you always kind of see these pop groups come out of nowhere as like cemented into the scene.
Yeah.
And it's like you never really know how they got there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird I want to go into like how you guys, I guess, not like plan to get there, because that, you know, like if you knew how to get there, you'd be there, right?
Yeah.
But like getting plugged into that sort of commercial scene seems like so strange, like such a foreign concept. Like, have you guys like done a lot of deep thinking about that, or like how you would go about, or how you are going about doing that, or like is it just about being viral, or like, you know?
Dude, I think there's so many factors that play into it. I think the biggest thing I've discovered is so far, just being a vocalist in Atlanta, is how actually close knit the musician and like music industry is in Atlanta. Like you would think, oh, Atlanta, it's a huge city, there's a ton of people, but the network, from my experience at least, is pretty tight. Like it's pretty tight knit, and like definitely who you know. Like obviously, if I didn't know these guys, I never even would have had the opportunity. And so there's a million different factors that play into it. The biggest one being, I think, who you know. And I think all of us have had a really neat opportunity to be in networks of people that have network with people who like have a lot of, are in positions who have a lot of power and have a lot of influence. And so I think it's definitely utilizing those networking opportunities. And then also, you know, going viral would be the easy way to do it, right?
Yeah.
That'd be nice. But, you know, that comes
It's like a mix between like grassroots and viral, you know? Like,
for sure.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have a guy like Noah here who's basically a marketing genius at the same time.
Dude, this guy can pitch himself to anyone. Absolutely anyone.
I've seen more band spreadsheets in my entire life come from this guy because of that.
So, like, what's your process like when you're, you know, trying to, like, on your first single, like, what was your process of trying to get it out there and, like, in the most ears you could, you know?
Yeah. So the first goal was how big can we make our fan base without spending money on it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Not paying to get it on playlists, not paying to get in front of followers, but just raw. How much is our band able to travel just based on its name itself?
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of that where we just pitch it to a playlist, anything that is available for free, and see what sticks. And we've had some success with that.
Yeah.
Gotten picked up by a couple playlists here and there through Spotify, Apple Music, that kind of thing. But the bigger thing is, you know, there's really only two ways to get huge. One is you stumble into it backwards, and the other is you stumble into it forwards. And I think a lot of people that are huge stumble into it backwards, which is great, but you can't really plan for that. So what you can control is like, if we were to dream as big as we could possibly dream, what would it look like? So you reach out to those people. You email those contact emails.
That's true.
Those people that you're like, that person would never email me back. Well, you don't frickin' know until you send them a demo.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been the process for me, is can we canvas a lot of people in the tier of pop world that is well outside of our current range, and see whether somebody comes back positive. You know, you offer people opportunity. You offer a benefit to them in exchange for their time, investment, songwriting session, whatever, and see what happens. So
I love that. Yeah. Aim high, miss high, you know?
Exactly.
dude.
100%.
That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, that is the way to do it. I mean, you miss 100% of the shots. You don't take all those cliche things, but like,
No.
you for
So
real.
true.
And you got to be okay with hearing no or nothing.
Like 100%.
A lot.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Going through that process as a new band is like so exhausting, but you can't let it like get to you personally, you know?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah. And you're saying like stumbling into it backwards. I guess a lot of people or bands kind of always push that off as luck, you know, the right place at the right time, where like the right person hears it. And then they're just like, boom, you want to be on the label? Or like, you know, someone huge like shouts you out, and then all their fans hear you, and then it just spreads.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So you never know when that's going to come.
Yeah,
That's true.
But yeah, that's really cool.
But you can also prepare for it, which is what we talk about a lot. Is like, you know, I can make a song that sounds much better than everything around me, or I can make a song that is as good as the best thing that's happening in pop music, and that's what I always try to push. Is how do we get as good as Harry Styles, as good as Laney, the 1975, whatever that is, you know, and not settle for this is better than what most of our peers are doing, you know.
For sure. Yeah, that's like the tough part, especially when you're not making money on your music yet.
Right.
Like how much to invest into that sound.
Yeah.
And then like,
Absolutely.
and not to mention the whole process of like the mixing process where you hear the song for the 100th time and you're like, I don't even know if this sounds better than when we started. Like we changed like a tiny little note here and it's like, is that better or worse? I don't even know what I'm hearing anymore. So like, I kind of want to hear about that process of, since you guys' music is so produced, like how does it start? Like, where does the song
How
start with?
much time do we have?
Yeah, let's get into it,
The
man.
conversation.
That's really like the meat of what
we
I
got
want to get
plenty of
into because
time.
it's so interesting to
For
like.
real. I mean, for us, the
Colin produces all of. For context, Colin sits at the desk for all of our production stuff.
basically.
So for laymen that aren't like super musicians, when you say producing, a lot of people hear different things. Like, what do you?
For sure. Production in our context is essentially just getting the sounds and the right sounds that we want for the theme of the song. Production kind of like is split in our group in a couple different categories, in my opinion. For me, for the most part, it's essentially getting the song actually on paper, which is actually in an Ableton session or in a Pro Tools session.
Gotcha.
And at least something where it's like we can easily send full mixes or demos of that song back and forth to each other and start the conversation of, hey, we don't like this, hey, we do like that, and kind of see the song progress over time. For the most part, our production does stem from a sense of like, you know, this guy's got this cool song idea, this guy's that cool song idea, and a whole lot of like iPhone voice memos back and forth to each other. And then the amount of times that I've taken a voice memo from Emily, put it into an Ableton session, and warped it to the right tempo that she wants, and then kind of like messed with it from there is, man, I can't even count it on like.
That's really cool.
Sort of thing.
It's
So
interesting.
it's a whole lot of like, man, it's just keep working with what you have until it like kind of ultimately gets to something. For the most part, like Please and Be Yours, I would say cumulatively as a group we have like, I don't know, something like 100 hours into like creating the songs themselves.
Yeah.
And man, I have a bounce of every single version of that song from the first version through the 24th or something by the time we got it mixed, for example. And it's like, I can walk you through the entire process of like, dang, we changed this, dang, we changed that on a version by version basis if we really wanted to. And it's kind of cool to see that progress of that kind of like evolve over time. And that's, I don't know, a good bit of like our production process is just kind of keep putting it out there. Like if you change something, send it out, get it back, feedback, just like keep working on it, keep like rounding up this like rough edges until something like comes out essentially. So
That's really cool. It's like such a different way of like, I guess the bands we've had so far have gone about it. It kind of seems almost more like an engineer, like a DJ or something that like starts with something and then they'll change it and add and add and add and add and add. And it's more like, that on paper process that you're talking about. But you do have real musicians in this band. So like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
For real.
So like when you, I guess, start with something, do you guys jam it live? Like, do you try to, I guess,
Oh man.
like while you're writing,
Right,
I guess
for sure.
is what
We've
I mean.
never like legitimately played Be Yours as it is like on air, like
Yeah.
really together. Like
Yeah, I
Please
don't
the
think
same way. And our other demos and such, we've never like truly played them. But as a group, we have played them because, you know, Noah played the keys part. I put the bass down.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of goes from there. So it's like in the digital realm, on my computer in the other room, for example, it's all like we have played it, but it's like not quite, you know, really taking the time to like mesh, you know, iron it out that way, I would say. So
That's true.
it's a little bit more of a less traditional process, you know. in
For
comparison.
sure. Yeah. I guess
for
it's
us.
less romantic in a sense, but
Yeah,
it
it-
does
yeah.
get a better end
Yeah.
result.
Oh, for sure. If
And the sound.
Right.
Like,
If it's like we put a demo and you know Noah has a new keys idea for something, sure it'll take a little bit of time for me to edit the MIDI track, for example. But it's like we actually have what the song start to finish would sound like at the end of that idea, sort of thing. And so it's like it's really easy for us to then hear in real time what individual like thought and ideas of that song would be like instantaneously.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, let's go play it again next weekend and we got to wait a whole week.
True.
Like, you know, I could sit down for 30 minutes and fix this, that, and the other, and it's a new song. So it's a little bit more of a streamlined process, I'd say. A little more like new age.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Different.
So how does that like affect you guys being the vocalist and I guess the keyboard player of the band? Like, is it easy for you? Is it frustrating for you? Is it like not being able to, I guess, put your hands on it as it's happening all the time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely been interesting because I think so. Be Yours started with like a voice memo that with like a top line melody I came up with probably like a year and a half ago, and then I think Please started with something Colin had like thrown together, and so it's been different for every song. But I will say something that we've recognized and we would love to start moving towards is those like live jam sessions together because there's benefits and disadvantages to each type of like writing session, but I think something that we've noticed is when we have that opportunity to leave the producing more at the back end, we can get like strip it down and like start with just this like live jam and get more into like the authenticity of the lyrics and like what's the story we want to tell. rather than sitting in front of a computer and being like, all right, like let's get this complete idea out on paper.
Yeah.
And so it is nice. It's nice to have it all out on paper, and then even remotely, I can shoot over some vocal stems to Colin. He can throw them in there, and we can put it in the group chat, see how it sounds. But definitely something we're trying to move towards is that more like live session and finding the time for us to all be in the same room and write together. But like I said, there's advantages and disadvantages to each, and so I think balancing that out, while writing songs for the EP will result in some more authentic songs, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like your songs aren't authentic or anything, because they do have a ton of emotion and like personality to them. They're definitely unique to you guys. Like,
right.
You guys, sure, you can hear influences from people, but every band has that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, I wanted to hear it from like a musician's perspective.
I mean, I was living on this couch at the time we made these songs, so I was within earshot of Colin all the time. So I really have my fingers pretty deep in the programming mixing process.
Yeah.
A lot of like Colin's got a real bass ear, so sometimes the keys parts he'll like lay a keys part. I'm like, we can make that a little more sing-songy to it, and I can layer in my opinion a little bit. So in a lot of ways, Colin and I kind of started a lot of these songs together, and then
a lot of us like pestering David, pestering Emily.
Yes.
get stuff at first. But.
So the trick for us was like, how do we leave space for Emily to work in the song? We'll lay out MIDI drums and all that, but we wouldn't really lay the electric stuff. So we have to kind of create a pocket for her and say, fill it with something. Yeah. And then a lot of times David comes in separately to do vocal type work. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And it gives you, I guess, like more of a playground to experiment and try stuff out like right on the spot, whereas like when you're in a band you have to rely on everyone else to be like, oh, like everyone shut up for a second, can we try this again? And you still have to rely on them to play the part and like communicate what you're talking about, whereas this you can just be like scoot it back like with a click of the mouse and just be like plug that right there. And it's like you get to experiment a ton.
Totally. If you got verse 1 is completely separate from verse 2 and they're completely different ideas, but you like want to switch verse 2 and verse 1 is copy and paste.
Exactly.
It's a blessing and a curse for real. It's we've had some ideas come together much quicker of us, 4 of us sitting in that room putting stuff together than we have like Be Yours, which was like basically just like waiting for everybody to send bounces and stuff back together. But ultimately, like the same result has come out of both sort of thought process in my mind. Some of our best work yet, sort of thing. So really excited for going forward and all that.
I definitely don't want to like disparage saying like one is better than the other, because like a lot of bands that you hear, like Metallica for instance, did most of their writing on paper. They wouldn't jam out a song. They would like literally mathematically like figure it out on paper with notes. So it's like you never know which kind of bands are doing what, and some of the like most gorgeous music ever has been written like that. I mean, you think back to classical music, they weren't jamming out like Beethoven's Fifths and stuff. Like he's writing it out. So
and he couldn't even hear.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just like a really cool process. It's interesting. So like on that, now you're kind of having to reverse engineer it to figure out how to do it live.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah, never having played the song before and now having to actually play it is something we haven't quite crossed that bridge yet, but it'll be a fun challenge. For real.
Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure, especially when you're like starting off at unless you guys blow up before you start playing live, smaller venues. Like most people have to do. So have you like thought about how you're gonna do that yet?
Oh shoot. Yeah. Noah's the tracks expert of all of us.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely backing tracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the goal will be to, some of that will depend on the size of venue to figure out how far you strip it back. But we've got all the tracks. We've worked with Aaron to make sure we've got every track exported singly, so we can drop all 120 in there.
Cool.
Pick and choose our elements. Pick and choose which ones we want to play live, and sort of build our own arrangement. Yeah. So that's kind of be the approach when we get to that point where we actually can play live gigs. So we haven't put a ton of time into how exactly we'll strip it down, but it'll probably be a venue to venue thing. If we can get into the Masquerade, we can fill it out a little more. If we're playing, in a bar for 15 people, we really got to strip it as far back as we can. So, Thankfully, I got a lot of faith. Like I've never played with musicians this good in my whole life. So I have a lot of faith in like everybody's ability to lock into whatever we decide to do. So,
Dude, that's one of the biggest things, that trust factor with the people you're working with, man.
For real.
for sure.
Having each other's backs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's such an interesting thing. You guys are definitely like unique in that way.
Yeah, I will say to your point, and the process is just different. I don't think there's a better or worse for sure. For us, this process of like writing things in parts, running it mostly out of a DAW, a digital audio workspace. To those that don't understand that terminology, but running it all on a computer gives us some flexibility to really sit down with the pieces and be intentional about how they come together. Where sometimes when you're playing something live, you're just kind of filling the space. When you're designing it on a computer, you can pull that one section out and really refine it vocally, lyrically, musically. So the music we write tends to actually have a really serious focus and intentionality to every little piece that goes in it because of that. So it's been kind of cool to build it that way.
Yeah, it's like surgery for sure on the song.
Absolutely.
Which a lot of bands like don't have the luxury or even, I guess, ability or wanting to do. You know?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. For
Which hurts them in a lot of ways.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's definitely the advantage that I think we have going into our first shows and stuff, because having the access to the songs themselves and actually like everything on a digital space like that actually allows us for the opportunity to actually spend more time on what our show is going to look like. And look, for a lot of times it is like lighting and effects and like fog machines, the whole 9 yards sort of thing, which I feel like a lot of bands start paying attention to at a later point. Once they're like, hey, we've played these shows 20 times, haven't really made a whole lot of progress. How do we make the show, which is what we're essentially selling, right? That's our product.
For sure.
To people, and what we can do to make those better. So for us at a starting point, there is like a conversation that we're going to have essentially of hey, how do we start running MIDI outputs for light arrays or like fog machines on like a per song basis, and like what is that going to look like, and how are we going to enter shows, how are we going to exit shows, what's our set sort of be. Essentially it's like we have the capability to essentially have the entire show on like a Ableton project and just press play at the beginning and run through the whole thing, and it looks the same every single time, and that's our product, and that's what we're selling on a tour sort of thing. So it's like it's a lot to juggle and a lot to like go into, but I feel like we're going to have I don't know, I wouldn't say advantage, but like a little more information and like a basis for what we're putting out there. Not going to be like a lot of guesswork, I would say.
Yeah, you guys are definitely putting a ton of thought into that. Like a lot of bands forget that the people are there to see a show and not necessarily just hear your music.
Yeah.
Because they can do that on their headphones.
Yeah.
For real. Good point.
And better. Like it'll be better in their headphones than it'll
Always
be
be
live.
better.
99% of the time. So.
Generally
yeah.
speaking, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to definitely put into that show.
Yeah.
Got to make it an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Sure.
worth their money, like something they would come back for and something they can talk about, like
Absolutely.
like that actual experience. Like, did you see that like one part where they did blah 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 and like explosions of beach balls all over the place or something? You know, just anything
Basically.
weird.
I need to be taking notes right now.
Just like anything.
Explosions of beach balls.
Yeah, like that's the stuff people talk about forever. Like
Yeah.
one of the best examples of that, I mean, ever was Daft Punk. Like they always put on something crazy.
Yeah.
Whenever they would come out of their woodworks, and actually play live, which they never did. But it will always be like an experience, and everyone will always lie and say like, "Oh, I was there at Daft Punk's show with the pyramid," and it's like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
A million people were there. Yeah, okay. But
The guys that always made it, and I'm thinking of specifically like a Michael Jackson like comment that I heard one time. Essentially, he's like, every time he would say something along the lines of like, people are here to like escape what they've got going on in their real life, and if I'm not putting on a show that allows them to do that, then what am I doing here? And I feel like that's part of the motivation. That's the reason why he made it, and that some other people did. So
yeah, it's like a lot of that is kind of looked down upon, I guess, in pop music, where these bands are dancing half the time, or these groups or these people, like these solo acts, are like just dancing around the stage, and it's like, well, they're performing. Like this is a whole thing. This is like theater.
Yeah, it is.
This isn't just music.
yeah,
Yeah,
for real.
So I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think it also goes back to that trust factor, because like we already trust each other to play with excellence and to perform with excellence, because we're all used to performing live. Like that's our default. And so I think with that trust factor, it's gonna be so much easier to just show up to a gig and not just play, but to perform and like actually put on a show. I think that'll make it much easier. So
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And with y'all's music, that definitely is kind of expected
yeah,
with pop
for
music.
sure.
Yeah.
Like something extra and
Yeah.
the production behind the music.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So like when you guys do start out, probably next year, I guess, at this point, obviously it's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
But like when you're playing live, like who are you shooting to play with? Because a lot of venues around here aren't, tailored towards pop. They're more like a punk night or a metal night or like, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of just like you're right, correct, like pop venues like Smithsville Bar. It's gonna be like rock, folk stuff, right?
Yeah.
Eddie's Attic again, more acoustic stuff. You have to get down to like essentially have the opportunity to maybe get on like other people's tours, like at the Masquerade or like Vinyl or Center Stage or something like
For
that.
sure.
Right? That's kind of like our target for the most part. We could go and probably put on a decent, pretty good show with some other act, upstairs at Smith's or something like that. But it's like that venue itself, even like the sound system and everything that's like already there, isn't like tailored to the type of music that we're performing.
For sure.
I've played a good amount of shows there, and it's the guy that always runs it upstairs. He's like, man, y'all got a keyboard sort of thing. Where's the guitars at? Like,
Yeah.
You're
like,
it's
uh-oh.
very
in trouble.
and I'm like holding my like tracks rig in my hand, like, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
So about to have that conversation with him. So it's definitely a sense of like get in contact already, and with people like that at the Masquerade and stuff like that to get on tours of like other people that need local support or anything like that. Kind of shoot for
opening
that, like,
act stuff.
Exactly, not like kind of like bypass the Thursday night show downstairs at Smith's to like the hopefully maybe get some sort of like tour opening spot like that at like a Masquerade type venue. Otherwise, it's genre wise, it's tough, but like I don't think we'd quite fit sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's a tough conversation to have. It's not easy, but unless we travel to other cities or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. But
No. I think we'll probably have to do some cover work for sure, which is fine. Like we're still building our repertoire of original stuff. You run a pretty short show with 2 singles out, so and we can pull off some good cover stuff that I think works well in bar scene world, stuff that sings well and that kind of thing, and just tailor our arrangements a little bit. But the goal really is, to Colin's point, to get into some of those bigger venues that can support the type of performance we're looking to do, and work the connections we have to see what sort of either tours or short runs we can do with some names either around Atlanta or across the Southeast. So it may be trying to get on some festivals and that kind of thing. We'll have to see how it plays out once we build a little bit of stream and YouTube following.
Yeah.
For sure. That's definitely a good strategy, I feel like, for you guys.
Yeah.
Like getting on those opening shows.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, the festivals is going to be nuts the next year, especially to try to get on. Because they all got pushed back, and everyone's going to try to get them. And music is still evolving and happening. So like the people they would have put on last year, they might not put on next year.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
I didn't even really think about that. Like festivals are going to kind of seem like dated next year because they're going to be last year's festivals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Isn't that crazy?
It's going to be nuts. They're going to be like a year behind.
Yeah. For real.
Can finally see WAP live.
You know what? I know
Let's
I've
open for
always been
Cardi.
missing out. I don't know what it was
Peace.
lately, but that's it. Oh my god! I can't even think about that.
Oh,
It's gonna be great.
Oh my gosh! Oh man, next question. We got. Oh boy!
Jeez Louise.
man.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I guess you guys kind of answered already. I wanted to go into like what you're aiming for, but I mean, getting on those touring acts bands, and then one of them, I guess, will, if they like you enough, they might pick you up and run you, around the country. That'd be sick.
That's the dream for sure. We
So like, what are some names that you would like to open for, like that you have, I guess, have been trying to contact?
shoot. That's a great question. I mean, personally, I know all like the top shelf people. Obviously, I want to open for the 1975. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. Y'all got.
Well, we definitely haven't started reaching out yet because we're not
Yeah.
at that place yet. But
The whole thought, David and I have talked about this a lot. Colin too, to some level, is we really want to get our bass repertoire out there, because somebody's got to take a faith step with you, like to take you on as a new band. So you kind of need some base level of, hey, here's a music video, here's a couple singles, here's some stuff we've got in motion. So the goal has always been to get that out, preferably get our first EP out, and really have something to kind of go to market with. And so early 2021, be able to have those conversations. Yeah. I would love to explore a conversation with Laney if we could get him on the phone. I know some people who know some people who may be able to get us on an email chain with their manager. That's about as close as I can get. But
hey, it's a connection.
That's what you got to do. You got to do that a dozen times over, and hopefully somebody emails you back, so you don't know until you try.
The grind, dude. That's sick.
Yeah.
So Laney, the 1975, Lauv, Harry Styles. Who else?
Big, yeah.
I mean, that's really the aim, I guess.
And for the scene, go BTS, man, all the way.
BTS,
worldwide tour for our first tour.
Worldwide, baby.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're not so pop to where it's like a singer, guitar player, and like a drummer, but we're like pop enough to be able to like have the conversation of being like way mainstream pop, but all the way to like, I don't know, full band alt pop at the same time, sort of thing. Like there's a wide spread of veins that we could be able to be relevant to. So I think there's a lot of
even like a band like Alt J or something like that.
Exactly.
You know? Dude, they're kind of not alt pop.
Totally.
And like I said, Noah said earlier, this whole conversation started with like me going to several concerts around Atlanta and the Tabernacle and stuff. And literally the opening act would like show up on stage and like plug his iPhone into an aux cord, hit play, and like proceed to like rap or sing a like decently written original. And I'm like, dude, we could literally show up on the stage right now and like do that like 10 times better. And so even if it is like shooting for those smaller artists, I think we definitely have that competitive advantage of being like, if you just hear this live like once, that's all it's going to take for you to be like, wow, the quality of this compared to like, opening acts of the past, hopefully that's what sells us for sure.
Yeah.
That's the drive you got to have, man.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
People don't want to get competitive, but at the same time, you're competing.
Sure.
And there's only so many spots.
Yeah,
it's true.
Absolutely.
And I've got like legit, probably overconfidence, but I've got a lot of confidence in our ability to really bring a live performance. Yeah. And once you start doing that, that's when your name starts to travel by word of mouth. And until then, have you heard that new song on iTunes? It only goes so far before
exactly
people want to be like, hey, I saw this band. And most of the bands that I now know and love, I encountered opening for somebody else. And that was my first experience. It's like, this band's super freaking tight. Like, I want to go find more of their music. So, and that's the goal, is get in some live shows, hopefully put on some damn good shows and see if we can get people to go look it up at home.
I mean, like you were saying before, like putting on an experience. Like that's when it really sticks in people's memories of like, loving an artist is when they have all the other senses involved, and it really cements that love for who they are and what they're all about.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because like nowadays, there's so many artists and so many things to choose from. Like, a fan really has to get something personal from what you're doing. Like you have to really give them value in their lives for them to like support you.
Yeah,
which is tough.
That's huge. I think what you said, making it a personal experience, because also of those concerts I went to, you go see their merch tables after, and they've got people running their merch tables.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's great. You have 10,000 plays on Spotify. Like, you should be out here running your merch table. Like, you should be out here, like, engaging with, prospective fans. Like, they want to, they heard your music live, but, like, they want to get to know you as a person. And just, like, staying humble from the get-go. Like, if you think, like, if you have a big enough ego to be like, I'll open the show, but I'm not going to sit here at my merch table and, like, talk to, like, engage with people, that pisses me off,
For sure.
I'm like, dude, get down, and get in the crowd and, like, meet people. I think that's what it's all about. And just giving them that, like, one-on-one experience, even if you engage with one person and, like, your music is able to, like, make their life happier. That's what it's all about,
For sure, man. That's huge.
Yeah. We basically got it made because, as soon as they start seeing David's face, I mean, we'll
get out of here, bro.
$15
We'll start running, dude. We'll start running.
That ain't gonna be too bad.
Hey, good looking group for sure.
Yeah, this whole marketing thing, it's basically just all. The more we can have David in front of the rest of us, the better.
That is not what's gonna sell you, dude.
Panning out.
Just make a T-shirt with his face on.
Yes, just a bust of David.
Yeah. The front of the T-shirt is like David and Emily. In the back of it's like me and Noah. You know what I mean?
A lot of
with his face photoshopped over yours.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Get those music videos out there, man. The slow mo panning shots.
Oh my gosh.
Brooding.
We got it.
I'm
We
so
just put out a
comfortable
music
right
video last Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's our shameless plug. We just put out a music video.
Music
it's not
video
shameless.
last
This
Friday.
is all
Yeah,
about it.
I was gonna say this is
Plug
what we're
it
here
up.
for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Single came out 3 days ago.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, 2
2
days,
days
ago.
ago. Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this will come out in probably like a week, so
Amazing.
it'll be like
Wow. Okay, so
November
9
6th.
days ago,
Yeah.
November 6th, guys.
came out with a dope ass single.
Yeah.
Probably, I think it's the best thing I've ever written.
Wow.
I'm gonna say it.
that's
Okay.
Yeah.
dude, that's not like bad to say. That's
Yeah.
what you should be
Absolutely.
saying.
I
Everything
think
you put out should be the best thing you've done up
That's-
to that point.
that's what I say. Is like
Yeah.
every time we put out a single, it's got to be better than the last one.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We've got to go break the last
Shows
ceiling.
progression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's sick.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you guys' future. Like, if you guys stay together, man, I for sure see it happening because this is like sick shit, man. It's
Yeah.
like it's real talk.
Sick shit.
appreciate it.
It's not necessarily like what I would go to, but I see the people that would go to this
Would go.
in masses. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
they're already going towards this type of music, but you guys are taking it to like a different level. Like it is different.
That's good. Yeah.
Different. That's a good.
It's gotta hit
That's
different.
what we're
man.
looking for.
It's different, but it's pop at the same time. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do because it's always the same type of stuff that you're hearing on the radio, but
Yeah.
it's got to be a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Shoot.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
you guys are sick. I'm excited
Appreciate
for your
it.
future. You guys ready
We're
to
excited.
flip it, fix it, or flip it, forge it, or fuck it? I always
You
fuck
got
it.
it.
Absolutely. We're about to flip it up.
Flip it up.
Please. Yeah, man.
So you're gonna flip it with what?
With Please, the single that just came out
Nice.
November 6th.
Sick.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that live feel that you guys want to get out there, this will kind of help.
Yeah. Try to do a little bit of an acoustic feel, a little different than the version you'll hear on Spotify. So go
Very
listen.
different, yeah.
Go listen to that for a little bit of the full band feel, but we're gonna strip it down for you.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
awesome.
Dude,
Well, thanks
Kick
for doing
ass.
this, guys.
dude, thank
Yeah,
you.
It's great.
100%.
Had a great time.
Awesome. So go ahead and sign off. Plug your socials, whatever page.
At official kind of maybe on all social media platforms, officialkindofmaybe.com. Yeah, look us up everywhere. Just came out with 2 singles and a music video. Come out to our show when we're touring with somebody, hopefully soon.
Keep an eye out, man.
That's it.
Wear your mask.
There we go. Awesome. I guess.
Sweet.
Thanks.
Dude, thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Dope.
That was really good.
That was fun.
That was fun.
too bad. Flowed nice.
That was a good flow. There was not like going out. I had no intention till I saw that look in your eyes. Across the room, I can feel the tension. Your blue eyes, they cut like a knife. And I'm not usually the bold type, but girls like you look good with guys like me. Sidestep a chance that you're out of my league. If it's what you want, then just say please, please. Tell me I can see you again. Please, please. If it's what you want, then follow my lead. Sit me down and hold my attention. Laugh and say that you wanna stay. Let's go out and break all pretension. Here's my heart for your heart to break. And I won't hold you till the next day. But while it's tonight, you might as well have me. Maybe
what you want. So just say, please, please, tell me I can see you again. Please, please, you say it's what you want, so follow my lead. So follow my lead.